All right, welcome everyone. My name is Stroze Hill. I'll be your presenter tonight, and we'd like to thank everyone that's taking time out your busy schedules to get on this webinar. Again, I am doing this in place of Mr. Curry, so every once in a while someone needs to be able to do some other things, but we got people who can fill in. Thank you, John. I got that message, and I appreciate that very, very much. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about what is called the Personal Cash Flow Plan, the PCP. And we're going to talk about something, in my opinion, is probably one of the most powerful things that we have to offer people in my econ, a step-by-step way to organize your finances and achieve your personal financial goals. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, before I do get right into it, tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I am the owner of a firm called the Legacy Financial Group. And we have a team name, which is called the Too Smart Evolution, but our whole company is the Too Smart University. The two stands for two companies that work together in tandem, one being the Legacy Financial Group, and of course the other is my econ. The SMART stands for saving money always requires training, and that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. Just so people know, we are a fully licensed firm. We do it all. So all the things that you will be taught that we need to learn, our firm is licensed and able to do that for all of our associates. We're very, very, very proud of that. Now, I'm also the author of a book called Living in the Overflow. Some of you have read it, and I appreciate your feedback. I told you to tell me the truth, and all I've heard was good things, so I like that. If you're interested in getting a copy of that, you simply go to toosmartevolution.com, and you'll see bookstore, and it'll be sent out to you within 24 hours. I think it's an excellent read, but you be the judge of that. Now, folks, I want to begin by letting you know that you'll earn a fortune in your lifetime. And the bottom line is, if you average making $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 over a working career of 40 years, $1 million to $3 million has went through your hands. But we have learned that it's not what you make that's important, it's how much of it you get to keep. So that's what the PCP is all about. We're going to talk about how to keep it. Now, I will also point out that in Hosea 4:6, for some of my Bible scholars out there, it says that my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Folks, we are so fortunate to have a company like My Econ that gives people the knowledge if they want it. So we're going to talk about how to take it step by step and accomplish your goals. My opinion is everybody that's in My Econ should be following these steps. It is so powerful. We have transformed our firm, and we follow these same steps with all of our clients, whether they're in My Econ or not. We teach them these steps. So let's take a look at the first one. Step number one, which is always the most challenging step, which is getting started. Acquire as much cash flow as possible each month. Now, when we say that, folks, the first thing that we tell people boldly they need is a business. So we want to make sure people get a business. Now, y'all know what business we talked about. My Econ, the personal financial success company. So that would take care of the first one. We're also going to give them the opportunity to pay less in taxes. Now, to do that, the best way is, of course, have a business. But we're going to go through and show them how to properly fill out their tax forms. And we show people at our training how to seriously sit down, read that form that nobody wants to read, go through it with them so they have better understanding. And when we make that W-4 adjustment by going through the taxes, we're also going to show them how to pay less on things that they like to do, so less expenses. So we're fortunate enough, ladies and gentlemen, to have what is called a cash back mall. And we have travel. Now, these are things that people are going to do anyway, but guess what? They're going to have to learn how to do it and do it more efficiently, and they can do it by utilizing our cashback mall and our travel portal. Now, we're not finished because it also says eliminate debt. Folks, we have several ways to do that. We have a program that helps people improve their credit scores called My Credit System, and we have what is called the CashFlow Manager. And inside that system, folks, we have the opportunity to show people what to do and keep a track of everything that it is they're doing. So keep that in mind as we go through the presentation. Now, number 2 says set up a beginner's emergency fund. You need $3,000 to $5,000 in the fund. Use a money market fund or a municipal bond fund and keep it separate from your regular checking account. See, there's a key word here, separate. Make sure they are separated. If you put all your money together, you lose control of what it's for. If necessary, make periodic deposits until you get to 3 to 5 and then stop. If you already have the 3 to 5, move it to an emergency account and separate it from other funds. Do not go to step 3 until you have completed step 2. Now, I noticed at the bottom of each of our steps, it's giving you some real important instructions. It said, do not go to the next step until you complete the one that you're supposed to be on. So, let's take a look at some more information. Now, because of the financial services field that I'm in, I'm going to elaborate just a little bit more on the emergency fund. See, folks, because I believe this is the biggest problem that people have in America. They are not prepared for the unexpected. Oh, and it's coming, but you need to prepare yourself for it. So here's the deal. First thing we want to do is understand, get the 3,000 to 5,000 saved up as soon as possible. Now, notice what it says here. This is your beginner's emergency fund. You're not through yet, because the ultimate goal is to have a minimum. Write the word minimum next to 6 months. Long time ago, we used to teach 3. After what happened in 2008, you better have at least 6 months in the hole. Okay? Ideally, 6 to 12 months or anywhere in between, wherever your comfort level happens to be. All right? So 6 to 12 times your monthly cost of living or salary. Next, that money needs to be semi-liquid, but not convenient. Here's the problem. Most people have it somewhere where they can go down there and go, doot, 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 take it out. That's too convenient. It will not be there. So you have to get creative here. Now, of course, when we sit down with clients, we show them what to do here, but you need to at least understand you need to be able to get to it, but it can't be too convenient. Okay, I don't care if you put it in a credit union in another town that's 20 miles from you. So to get it, you'd have to make that hike to get over there. So that's just a thought. Partners must be in agreement to what an emergency is. Folks, let me tell you something. Men and women have different opinions on what's an emergency. A man might try to convince his spouse to let him take the money and go buy a big screen television during the Super Bowl so he can watch the Cowboys or something like that. And he knows he doesn't have any money anywhere. She's supposed to say, if it's not this or that we agreed upon, we're not touching that money. So, folks, you need to understand something. The reason you don't touch it is because you would rather have hard times with something than hard times with nothing. See, hard times with something helps keep the attitude straight as you fighting through the hard times. Very, very important. How can two walk together lest they be in agreement? So let's make sure we do that. Very important. This is a 6-month to 24-month goal to get the 6 to 12 months on hold just for emergencies. In other words, folks, you can't take 10 years to build your emergency fund. This is where you have the huddle with the family. And you say, look, for the next 6 months or the next year, we're going to be lean and mean. We're going to cut off every light in every room that's not being used. We're going to not take hour showers. We're going to eat all the leftovers. We're going to drink water instead of buying soda. You know, you get the point. And folks, guess what? You will get that emergency fund done. But everybody needs to be in agreement. Otherwise, one person is bringing it in one door and the other one's taking it out the other. However, you need to get the 3 to 5 as soon as possible. How do we do that? We make extra money to build our emergency fund faster. Hence, that's the My Econ opportunity. I personally will never tell someone to go get a job to make some extra money. You need a business, and everyone on here should know that. So if they get a business like My Econ, we can teach these principles and strategies and at the same time be compensated for our time. Now, if a person chooses not to do it, fine. If you make overtime on your job, you cannot justify spending your overtime money. All that money should be put in your emergency fund. Or you could do some part-time work. I didn't say part-time job. I said part-time work. You know, take a habit. I'm not a habit, but a hobby that you have. turn it into something you can make business. I don't know, cut grass, clean out basements, do something where you can make some money. So these are some of the suggestions that we give people when we're talking about preparing for the unexpected. Very important. All right, step 3. We're going to assume we got the $3,000 to $5,000 saved up. Now, folks, that's based on, your cost of living. Now, if your cost of living per month is more than $5,000, come on, you know what you should do. Don't get comfortable. Let's get that 1 month at least in the hole so we can start this process. Step 3, begin investing in your retirement accounts of some kind. That could be 401k, 403b, Roth IRA, simple IRA, SEP IRA, annuities. If you can, put in the maximum amount. Now make a note here. The maximum amount that everyone should understand is 10%. You are supposed to pay yourself 10% of all your income before paying bills. Folks, this is a rule. Now, I won't get all into it, but I teach the 10-10-80. God says, give me a tenth of all your income so there's meat in his house. And if it's good enough for the creator, it's good enough for the created. That's God's economy. So you need to pay yourself 10% of all your income before paying bills. Now, we're being nice here because if you can't do the maximum monthly, this says, but do at least 5% of your income. Now, the reason we're doing that is because what's more important is that you develop the habit of putting something away every time you get paid. So if you started out at 5, don't worry, we got some more information here that'll help you get and get to that 10%. Do not go to step 4 until you have completed step 3. Now, folks, this is very important. And now let me just say this real quick. This is extra. Y'all say this is extra. If you have a 401k plan and they're matching, let's say dollar for dollar, up to 6% of your income, I'm telling you now, you better save up to 6% of your income. Doesn't matter what your financial situation is, because that's called free money. The first money that we always take is free money. You don't give up free money. Figure out something else you can do without that won't kill you so that you can make up the difference. All right. Now, let's go to step 4. Now, remember, I put a little note there. It says this is the accumulation phase. You are now accumulating wealth. Now, you'll learn in my econ that basically there are 4, well, it doesn't say it here. Anyway, we have what is called retirement plans. I just mentioned them. And then you have what is called investment vehicles. And what we want to make sure you understand is if you have a 401k, you got to find the investment vehicle to fund it. A 401k is not an investment. A 401k is a law. It's the law. It's in the IRS code, 403b, IRS code, 457, IRS code, IRAs. They're all codes, but they don't make a rate of return on their own. You have to find, ladies and gentlemen, the investment vehicle to fund it. Now, I will not be going into all of this in great depth because this is what we do at our cash flow conferences on Friday night. We go through all of this, make sure you get it. Now, you got to learn how money works. In this example here, everyone should understand that it's not hard. It's really simple if you have some information that can help you. Now, notice what it says is consider a 22-year-old college graduate making a one-time investment of $2,000. All right? Now, if that person did that, 22 years of age, if they invested, let's say $2,000, if they invested it and got a 3% rate of return, 3 divided into 72 is 24. What this is telling you, folks, is that it takes 24 years for their money to double if they got a 3% rate of return. This is actually called the rule of 72. Now, to be absolutely correct with you, it's an approximation of what it would be. It's an approximate value. It's not an exact science. Okay, so again, 3 goes in 72 24 times. That $2,000 would double every 24 years. So at 22, it's 2,000. 24 years, you're 46, it's 4,000. Another 24 years, you're 70. It turns into $8,000. Woo, get excited. Now, let's see if we double the interest rate. If we double it to 6, how much would you have? Some of y'all, I heard you. Some of y'all said 16,000. Well, let's see. 6 goes into 72 12 times. So every 12 years, the money would what? Double. So here's what happens. At 22 goes 2,000. And 12 years from now, you'll be 34, goes to 4. Another 12 years, you're 46, goes to 8. Another 12 years, 58, goes to 16. And guess what? Another 12 years at 70 is 32,000. Now, for all the people that thought 16,000, we'll give you your 16,000, but I'm going to keep the other 16,000. Folks, this is what your banks do to people every single day because they know the masses do not know how money works. So let's see if we can get it to work for us and not against us. Let's say you can get a 12% rate of return on your money. Yes, you can. Been doing it for a long time. 12 goes into 72 6 times. Now, listen to me carefully. The banks always tell you that they can openly admit that they can make 18 to 21% rate of return off of whose money? That's right, your money. So if they gave you 6% and subtracted from the 18 they made a profit of 12. Well, 12 goes into 72 6 times. How much did they make off of you over the same period of time? Voila. $512,000, folks. That money doubles every 6 years. So all of these individuals, if they were individuals, save $2,000, but depending on where they put it, is going to determine their lifestyle in their retirement years. See, folks, that's why it's very important for us to make time to understand and learn how money works. And remember, this is off a one-time investment. This is not off of someone saving money every month. They put it in one time, left it alone. Look what they have. So imagine if you took $2,000 for a newborn and told them they couldn't touch it for, let's say, I guess that's a total of 48 years, I think. Yeah, they couldn't touch it for 48 years. Guess what? They'd have at least $500,000, depending on where you put it. So now, to give you a quick idea about how money works, it doesn't take a lot of money, folks, to build wealth, but it does take what is called consistency plus time. Keep that in mind now. You got to be consistent. That means stopping and starting, stopping and starting, stopping and never start. You got to say, I'm going to pick an amount and I'm going to stick to it. And guess what happens? If a person saves $50 a month over a 40-year period of time, folks, that $50 can grow into anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000, depending on your rate of return. So there's absolutely no reason for people not to have money. And when you run into that one person that says they can't save $50 a month, that's okay. Ask them, can they save $1.65 a day? 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yeah, I can do that. Well, if you multiply it by 30, that's $50 a month. That's called the reduction of the ridiculous. You got to break it down into smaller chunks so people can realize I can do that. And the secret is, with everything we do, is getting people started. So that's what makes that important. Step 4. Take the rest of your available cash flow after living expenses and set up a MyEcon debt elimination plan. Pay off all your consumer debt, not your mortgage. Do not go to step 5 until you have completed step 4. Now, there's a reason you shouldn't pay off your mortgage. That's like if there's a such thing as your best debt, that would be it. So why would you, I run into people all the time. They're accelerating their mortgage, but they haven't done anything to accelerate their consumer debt. Well, that's just not smart. Let's reverse that. Let's pay off the consumer debt and leave the mortgage for last. Step 5, if you're not maxing out your retirement plan, raise your payment to the maximum. That means if you started out with 5%, it's now time for you to start paying yourself 10% of all your income. Now, let me make this clear, too, for all of y'all out there. See, if I tell a client they need to be saving 10% of their money, and they tell me, well, I have a 401k, and I'm maxing it out, and I say, what's the max that you could put in there that they match? And they'll say 6%. Great. I said, but 6% isn't 10%. We need to find somewhere else to put the other 4%. And then I show them what to do with it. And again, we'll be teaching more of that at our cash flow conference. Now, take advantage of what is called tax deferral investing. All of those accounts that I called off, the 401k, the 403b, the 457, the traditional, the Roth, and the simple IRAs, all of them, they are what is called tax deferred accounts. So let's take a look. let's just say that we put our money in these investments and they're tax deferred. That means you're earning taxes on it, and you're not, not earning taxes. You're earning a rate of return, but you're not paying taxes on it now. You're deferring it until later. Let's make sure we get that right, okay? That's why it's called tax deferred savings. Now, let's say we have two individuals that are maxing out their IRAs. If you're under 50, you can put up to $6,000 into an IRA. So if you got a couple here, let's say they both are maxing it out for a total of $12,000 per year and did that for 30 years. If they only averaged an 8% rate of return. See, I'm like Ivy. Ivy says, just if I can make 8% consistently, we're going to build wealth. And he's absolutely right. You don't have to go out there swinging off the fences, folks, trying to make a killing, because a certain amount of risk comes with that also. And sometimes, and most of the time, people do not know how to evaluate those risks. They're just getting excited that you can make some money. Well, be careful. So again, if you did that for 30 years, that'd be $1.4 million. And all of that money, you've never paid any taxes on it because it was what? Tax deferred. Now, had you paid taxes on that money all along, that means you didn't take advantage of a retirement plan like the 401k, the 403b, 457, tax sheltered annuities, or all the IRAs, which are all tax deferred. You just put yours in an investment right out. And every year you get what is called a 1099, and you have to pay the taxes on that. It's called capital gains. Guess what? This one is a $600,000 difference because you pay taxes on it every year as you went forward. So you make a decision which one is in your best interest. Now, here's a little extra. If that $12,000 was in a Roth IRA and you didn't touch it till after 59 and a half and been in it for at least 5 years, guess what? That $1.4 million is all tax-free. Now, you can't convince me everybody shouldn't be doing that. That's your worst case scenario. Now, if you want to go invest in something else, take a crack at it, a shot, fine. But you should definitely do what you know has been around for a long time so that you can earn the right type of return and never, in this example, have to pay any taxes. All right. Step number 6. Take all your available monthly cash flow and build a full emergency fund. All right, this is where I told you. Y'all had to huddle, and you can't take 10 years to do it. All right, this is where you're serious. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Now we're going to take that money, and we're going to get that 6 to 12 months out of the way. All right, building your emergency fund to 6 to 12 months of living expenses should happen fairly quickly because you have extra cash flow acquired from less taxes, less debt, less expenses, and business income. Do not go to step 7 until you have completed step 6. Now, folks, let me tell you something. When you have 6 months to 12 months in the hole just for emergency, you'll go to work every day with a smile on your face because you know that if anything happens, you can survive for the next 6 months to a year without messing up that great credit that you just got by utilizing our My Credit system. See, that's what it's all about. So don't go to the next step until you do this. Get it done. Now, step 7A. If you are renting, buy a home and proceed to 7D. If you are buying your home, go to step 7D. Now, we can't make people do. I know what the millennials like to do. They're moving every 5 minutes, so maybe they feel like they don't want to own. But ownership is always better than loanership. You make that decision. I was fortunate. I bought my first home in college. Matter of fact, I bought several homes while I was in college. All right, while everyone else was driving around nice cars, I had my little Hyundai, and I was buying rental properties. So it's up to you, okay? Do what you want to do. And now those properties are paying me. Somebody else is paying, well, the mortgage is paid for. It's paying me every month. All right, now, so step 7B says take all of your available cash flow and pay off your mortgage. The mortgage should be the last thing you pay off. Now, in the seminar, I'm going to give you a little test and show you some other things that you might want to think about, because I'm going to teach clients that you want to have the ability to pay off your mortgage and not necessarily pay it off. But again, if I want to pay it off, I got the money. But maybe my money can do a little bit better outside than inside. That's a whole nother discussion. Do not go to step 8 until you have completed this step right here. So step 8, start building an investment portfolio over and above your retirement accounts. Now, folks, we tell you in step 8 when you need to start doing some other things. But notice all the other steps were laying down a foundation to do what we know works for sure. Now, I'm not oblivious to all the things that's out there that people want to jump into, get excited, and they heard this, that, and the other. But you got to lay down a proper foundation first. I went to school for architecture and engineering. That's what I did for a living. I would never build a house starting with the roof. Okay? First, you put down a foundation. All those other steps was the foundation. And now we're getting ready to build this sucker. So notice what it says. You have endless options: stocks, bonds, real estate, mutual funds, ETFs, annuities, etc. Attend a My Econ Invest Smart training seminar or some other investment training class before beginning. Congratulations. The millionaire inside you is emerging. Now, we makes it clear, our Living in the Overflow conferences, we do the investment training on Friday nights. Again, I mentioned we are a fully licensed investment firm. We teach all of our associates coming in how to properly understand these things and make the right decisions at the right time by laying down the foundation and then building from there. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about step 9. Uh-oh. Some of y'all know the PCP. There is no step 9. I'm making a step 9. Now listen to me carefully. It says consider protecting steps 1 through 8 by protecting your most valuable assets. Okay, something just came on here. Hold on. Hold on a second. We just had something come up. Okay, I don't know what that is. Share the screen. All right, sorry about that. But anyway, consider protecting steps 1 through 8 by protecting your most valuable assets, which is, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, your ability to make income. Note, this is not a written MyEcon step and is used for training purposes only. For more details of step 9, attend our, it says Trying Times, which is now our Living in the Overflow educational seminars. Now, real quick, keep this in mind. We know that in the early years, you and I are supposed to know that there's some things that happen. Now, this is how life really works. Notice what it says. Personal financial success, cash flow needed to support our lifestyles during our working years and our retirement years. So guess what? During the working years, you have what? Young children, high debts. You have a mortgage, car payment. You should be investing for college for your children, saving for vacations, and if you have girls, planning for weddings. You either have a job, a business, or both. And during this time, we should be putting our money into assets like stocks, bonds, and real estate. Now, in our retirement years, our children should be grown and gone. Start talking to your kids about leaving. Don't let them stay home forever. If the children leave, your debts get lower, your mortgage is paid down or paid off, and now you get to live off your assets from your investments. So your income now is generated from your retirement assets. There's only one challenge here, and we need to make sure people understand this. Because in the early years, notice what it says. Under your working years, a loss of your income would be devastating. No one knows when they're going to check out. It can happen anytime. It might happen before you get your business built. I don't know. But suppose it does. That's why in the early years, people don't have a lot of money because of all the obstacles that are in their way. High taxes, poor credit, high debt, inadequate savings and investing, limited income, and inflation. So if those obstacles are keeping people from doing or being able to save a lot of money, that's the problem. But we got an answer for that. But here's the deal. They need to also understand that in the early years, you need a lot of coverage. Insurance, the stuff people don't want to talk about until something happens and they don't have it. And then they get on, Facebook and say, will you help us out? Unbelievable. That still happens in 2019. But in your early years, you need lots of coverage to replace your what? Your income during your working years. So ladies and gentlemen, there's two things that we all have to deal with. And that's either dying too soon, that's during your working years, or living too long. That's why you better have assets and investments working for you in your retirement years. So again, we talk about this in more depth, but I'll end it there because that's what it's all about. This is what we teach in my econ. So folks, I'm going to figure out how to stop recording, and then I'll be right with you. Let's see here. All right. Stop recording.